It's your main man, Clubber D. I'm here with the #1 self-proclaimed Falcons fan. Unlike our homeboy Shane Peacher, they don't change their name. They have been Atlanta Falcons since Deion Sanders, even before that. But this is my man Lamar, Dirty Mojo Lane. How you feeling, brother?
What's up? Clubber D, man? I'm feeling great, man. How you feeling today, man? It's good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
You know
See,
the
I'm
people.
rocking my fan favorite Roddy White, Sherrod Roddy White jersey. I talked to you before on the one thing. I asked you what new jersey should I get. I didn't want to get a Bijan and I didn't want to get a Jalen Walker because they were 7 and 11. So I'm just sticking with my Roddy White for right now.
And that's tough. Like, having, I think like certain teams, just like in college, you shouldn't wear certain numbers. Like I'm a Tech fan, and whenever I see somebody wear 7, I'm like, what have you done to earn that number? That should be like the Beamer.
Right.
Everyone, like they put a special team or somebody in general who earns the number 25 for Shane Beamer. They should do that, or they should do that for, the Falcons or just anybody in general. Like, you got to earn the right to get that number. You can't just give you a 7. Give you 11. And I meant Frank Beamer, not Shane Beamer.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy because before Bijan got it, it was worn by Young Wei Koo, our kicker. I'm like, How are you putting number 7 on Young Wei Koo? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, and then Julio, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
But Jalen Walker, you're a first round pick. I like Jalen Walker, what he's doing, but I'm like, still, man. Right now,
Julio,
bless him.
Those,
I don't know, man.
But
I don't want to wear it. I don't want to wear it because let's be honest, like I said, if I come to our fantasy football draft and I'm wearing a number 7 jersey, you're going to probably think it's Michael Vick.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm wearing an 11 jersey, you're going to say, oh, he's got the Julio on. I turn around and go, who the fuck is Walker? I
feel you on that, but you brought up a good show, good name to this, a topic for the show. And, I'm going to put it up here. We're talking about, this is a mid-season review of the Atlanta Falcons or Falcons. Let me know what's going on.
Bro, the Falcons, man. They've failed us. They failed the fans. They failed the city of Atlanta. This is just something that we didn't expect as fans. We knew of losses. We looked at the first 8 games, first 8 weeks, and said that there were some tough ones in there, but there was definitely a lot of winnable games.
Right.
Right now, the way I see them performing, I can tell you this, it's not what we expected them to be doing this year. Especially with last year, with us starting the season at 6-3, and then with Cousins having that injury, getting injured, with nobody knew it, and then they fell off. We expected them to come out this year with a bang and be able to compete against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for that division this year.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm glad you worded it like that, because that is a good transition to what were your expectations. I know we recorded in preseason about players to look for. I know you mentioned both first-round picks, Pierce and Walker, and then you mentioned the safety from Notre Dame. And, we had our expectations, how we thought we'd do. Obviously, I'm a Niners fan. You're a Falcons fan. So now that we're at that kind of mid-season point, what are your, from what you thought prior, your expectations? Please explain, where we are now.
My expectations were pretty equal, pretty even when it came to the defense. We did get the new defensive coordinator, Ulbrich, coming in, and I liked what he was going to be doing. I did talk to you about Walker and Pierce, and I know we gave our first round pick, but for us to give up our first round pick next year for Pierce was something that I was okay with, because the guy literally was probably the top 3 defensive ends in the draft, but it was just some quote unquote off the field issues, which wasn't really big, that kind of had him fall in the draft. But I kind of expected our defense to be a lot better than what they were last year, comparable what they were terrible last year. But I thought our offense was going to take off. I thought our offense was really going to have a really good, explosive offense with a lot of points.
Y'all traded that pick, next year's pick, to the Rams, right? For him?
Right. To the Rams. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, we changed it to the Rams. Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry about that. I hate to hurt you right now. And right now, I think we're like the 8th pick. So Rams team that's really playing really well has probably got if we were to finish right now, they'd have the 8th pick in the NFL draft.
Stafford could just ride out and just get somebody hot right now. They get another quarterback, but it's all good. It works like that.
So my expectation was pretty high. I mean, I could have seen us right now as a 7-2, 6-3 team, you know what I'm saying? Based off of us being a young team and stuff like that. But the way they've gone so far has been extremely disappointing. And I don't know what to tell you, Dion. It's frustrating as a Falcon fan, as a Falcon fan, which I'm calling for right now.
Well,
as a Falcon fan.
It's one of those things where when I spoke to Peach about this, and expectations are always high. Like, they went to the NFC Championship game last year. A lot of balls in their favor for them to win, pause if necessary. But
Mhm.
when you get on the prime time and everybody's watching, like he had mentioned, we talked about this. When you have certain expectations of your team, and then when they get on national TV, as far as being like Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, um, Sunday night, etc., the whole world's watching, and it's like it's like a family member or a child or something like that, to where everybody's looking to see what they do, and then when they get boat raced by a team, you're like, oh my god, and then like people that don't watch your team or just don't watch football in general, got to hit you up and give you their 2 cents on how bad your team is and things like that. So, it's part of the process of being an NFL fan. And for you guys, like you mentioned, your offense, Kyle Pitts, he hasn't been really lived up to the expectations. Drake London, I'm a fan of Drake London. I just wish that I feel like he's that player that's always hurt every game. He's always in that blue tent at some point of the game. So you never know what you're going to get out of him as far as his health wise. Bijan,
Right.
me personally, as an outsider looking in, I think he should get the ball more. Y'all should scheme more around him. But what I want to ask you, Penix, do you think he's the guy for y'all?
I I like
Mhm.
Michael Penix. I've said this. I said this last year. I said this after the draft. I am a fan of the pocket passer. Now,
Right.
I'm not a big fan anymore of the Michael Vicks, of the Lamar Jacksons. I do like the guy that has the ability to run, but
Mhm.
will choose to pass the ball. And if you remember in college, there was a lot of times where he escaped the pocket and he could have ran. He set his feet and he threw the ball down to Roma Dunze and he had a lot of
Right.
completions and stuff like that. He didn't run a lot. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, he was injured a couple years while he's in college, so he's probably afraid to get injured again. And I can understand that. But I
Mhm.
still like the thought of setting my feet again and delivering the ball down the field to my playmakers and get some, what I'm saying? I don't want my quarterbacks getting hit. Let's look at Jaden
Right.
Daniels. What I'm saying? He's getting hit
Yeah.
a lot. Let's look at, we just talked about this the other day with the quarterback for the New York Giants. They're getting hit a lot. And I don't want my quarterback, my franchise quarterback, to be getting hit like that. So I do like what he has. The problem that I have, Dion, is the play calling. The play calling is very vanilla,
So
is
bland.
very elementary, is bland. I think
Yeah.
after the Falcons, you hear me call them the Falcons. After the Falcons lost to the Miami Dolphins, I can't remember who it was, but he said we knew what they were going to call. We knew what they were calling. We knew the
Right.
plays. And here's a crazy stat for you, Dion.
Mhm.
The Falcons are right now, they're 3-6. That means they played 9 games. They've had a bye.
Mhm.
Guess how many times Michael Penix has thrown the ball after starting under center? So it's 9 games now. 9 games under center. Snap the ball.
If it was college, I would say probably none. But since we're in the pros, you would think it's more pro style with an under center. They need to learn that. Since you're telling me this, it's gonna got to be a crazy low number. Out of 9 games, I'm gonna say we'll roll with 60.
One time. He has been under center one time and thrown the ball. Every other time he's been in pistol or shotgun. You got to think of it like this: is how do you do that to a player? You got him back in pistol or shotgun. He's thrown the ball from under center one time. You
What
have
the?
arguably one of the best running backs in the league, right? We can talk about this, right? There's no play action from under center that draws those linebackers up, get the balls behind them. There's none of that. I saw the play. I was watching the play against the Colts this past weekend, right? The
Mm-hmm.
final play, not the final play, the last offensive play that they had when it was 3rd down and 12, and he got sacked and they punted in, and the Colts went down and scored. It was they were in a 3 wide receiver set
Mm-hmm.
at a pistol, running the 2 wide receivers on the right side. They were kind of like in a bunch formation. They both ran a corner route. The wide receiver
Yikes!
on the left side ran a post. I'll try to send you that Deanna, you could post it.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'll
if you'd
put
be
it
able
in
to
there.
post it
Yeah,
on here,
we'll
but
do it in post. Yeah.
all 3 of the receivers did the same kind of, I don't know if I can, boom and then boom, and he gets sacked, and I'm like, where's the underneath? Where's the crossing route? Where's the quick
There's no
route? There was
check
none
down,
of
no
that.
nothing.
There's none of that, and it's so wild, man. I sit there and look at it and I say, well, here's a great thing. I'm in a Falcons forum.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, you got to see my avatar in the Falcons forum. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'll get that to you too. But we're in the Falcons forum, and this kind of question was asked to us also. It says, do we believe in Michael Penix, or is Michael Penix what it is? And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, I love this kid, man. I think he's going to be a great quarterback for us.
Right.
I just don't think he has the right guys coaching him up. And it's just unbelievable, man. When you see it, it's just because he has the arm strength. You
Hmm.
saw what he did in college. It just looks like he doesn't know what he's doing out there, and I give that to the coaches. The coaches got to coach him up a lot better, and they haven't.
Now, was he in pistol a lot in college? Was that what
He
he
was in
kind of
he was in
ran
shotgun a lot. He
most
was in
times?
shotgun a lot, yeah.
So they're
Well, that's
probably
mostly
trying
a lot of
to,
college ball.
yeah, they're probably trying to cater to that, but you have to like, nah, you gotta change it up. Like you mentioned, being around a good coach. You look at Baker Mayfield, you look at Sam Darnold, look at Mac Jones. You get a quarterback that caters to that style of offense that's best for him. Then they can put up good numbers. So that pride pays. That's a main factor for him. Who's your OC? Who's the culprit in all
Zach
this?
Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson, and
Where's
I'm
he?
just
What's
not a
his
fan of.
track record? Where's he from? Who he learned under?
So, I'm not sure who he learned under, but I know he came with Raheem Morris
Okay.
from, the Rams when Raheem Morris left the Rams.
Okay.
Now, I'm just not a fan of him. I know that he's now being tied to taking the, I wanna say the Mississippi State, just a college program.
Raheem?
I'm been hearing it. No, no, not Raheem, Zach Robinson. I've been hearing that, like, somebody's interested in college of picking him up, and please take him. We do not want him
I
as
always
a
wonder how
defense
like
coordinator.
because it's not like a Mike McDaniel McDonald thing
Mhm,
when he was with the Ravens and he went to Michigan and he was their
mhm,
DC and then moved back up. I do see a lot of coaches doing that as far as NFL like coordinators like Wink Martindale. He's down in I
mhm.
don't know if it's Notre Dame or somewhere. He's the defense coordinator down there. So coaches are starting to do that and hop down, hop back up. I can't see him being a head coach if he doesn't have the track record, but it is what it is when
Yeah,
it comes to that. How
yeah.
my main guy is Kyle Pitts. Are you sold on him or you still want to keep him? Like
I
what's your thing on him?
I So basically, this is his contract year. So, I was expecting him to have a huge year. That
Hmm.
that tends to happen with a lot of players. They're in their contract year. They're going to have a huge year, so that when they do hit the free agent market,
Hmm.
their numbers are so good that they can get that big payday. I don't know, man. I liked him his first year with Matt Ryan. Then after that, he kind of fell off. And then this year, it looked like he was taking that role of I want to be here. I want to help produce. I want to help with the team. And
Hmm.
I like him with London on the opposite side of him, or even on the same side of him.
Right.
I don't know if because here's the thing. I don't know what the,
All right, we're back. Raheem Morrison did something. He tried to mess up the bandwidth on your end. He knew you
you
was
know,
talking about him. But go ahead, finish your thoughts on the defense. Let the peoples
yeah.
know.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I'm really excited about the defense. I know, like I said, we lost one of our linebackers, Dayball. We lost a middle linebacker. He broke his arm a few weeks ago. He's a
Hmm.
heart guy. So now they got Bertrand in there, and Bertrand is just terrible. This guy can't cover anybody. I mean, he's I mean, god awful. I just nobody can stand him on the Falcons team. But as far as the young guys, yeah, you're right. Watts is having a fantastic season from Notre Dame. Bowman's having a awesome season from Oklahoma. And then the two young defensive ends. So I got Jalen Walker and James Pearson. This is a fun fact with those guys is that they're the first pair of defensive linemen in the NFL history that have both had a sack fumble and then the other person recovered it. So
Oh snap!
Jalen Walker had a sack fumble and James Pierce recovered it. James Pierce had a tackle sack fumble and Jalen Walker recovered it. So it's pretty interesting.
That's
It's really cool. I
crazy.
like that.
That's
And I think
crazy.
right now, Jalen Walker has 4 or 5 sacks, and it's the middle of the season, so there's some more to go. So I'm really excited about that. The Atlanta Falcons for the last 10 years they've averaged 19 sacks a season, and right now we're at 29 sacks. So I
Us.
mean,
I
really
mean,
excited about it. Yeah,
can't
I
ask for
mean
more.
that's a big jump. The thing that sucks though, Dion, is that unfortunately for us, we are giving up a lot of points. But
Right.
I said this Sunday night is that we're averaging about 14 minutes less time of possession. So our offense is averaging 22, 23 minutes a game, and our defense
Hmm.
is on the field for 35, 38 minutes because the offense is not doing anything. And they're giving up points, but they're on there and they're tired, man. That's just how it is. It sucks, but I like Ulbrich. I do really hope we retain him and keep him. I think I like what he's done with the defense. Man, it's just this offense. Something has to change with the offense, Dion.
Jeff. Well, I'm a big fan of Jeff Ulbrich. He's an ex 49er linebacker. But he was up in Seattle for a little while, the linebackers coach. I'm not sure if he was DC up there. I know Robert Saleh brought him over when Robert Saleh went to the Jets. And then, we were actually were interviewing him to become our DC. Essentially went with Saleh over him. And, Ulbricht's cool. Just tell your son, stop texting Shador Sanders during the draft. You're jeopardizing your dad's, jeopardizing your
NFL,
dad's
yeah, yeah.
NFL pay and whatnot. So, I know we mentioned this freehand, and this is going to be a tough topic for you, but as a reform, no, not reform, but a ex-Falcons, now Falcons fan, has the front office failed you? And we all know the answer.
Dion, yes, the front office has failed us. I can tell you this, man. I do love Arthur Blank, our owner.
Hmm.
I think he is an owner who wants to do right by the team, wants to do right by the fans to
Right.
bring a winning organization, bring a winning franchise to the pro. The problem is who he has surrounded him, and it starts with Rich McKay, his CEO, COO, whatever's. I'm sorry, I think he's the president of the thing. It starts with him. Now, I can tell you this, man, that he's been with Atlanta since 2004, 2005. He came along from Tampa. Rich McKay has, and he's always in our a hiring process. Now, if you want to talk about some crazy stats, man, the Falcons have always hired a new first-time head coach. They've never hired that big name who's been a head coach. That's the guy. Now, you want to think about it. We had Dan Quinn, first time head coach, right?
Okay.
Arthur Smith was a first time head coach. Mike
Okay.
Smith was a first time head coach. Raheem
Okay.
Morris was a second time head
Second
coach,
time,
but
yeah.
they brought him back. You know what I'm saying? So yes, this is. But here's the crazy thing is that Atlanta, when Atlanta hired their coaches, and you know me, I wanted Bill Belichick, man. I was
Yeah.
please, please,
Big
please, please,
time on
please. And
Big
I know a lot of
Belichick,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, people say, "Well, look what he's doing in college, man." I don't want to hear none of that. He's got one recruiting class. I think he's going to turn that franchise that school down and line and do some good things with them.
I think he's
Um,
leaving. I think he'll leave.
you think he'll leave? I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay down there because he's got to get through his recruiting class, see what they can do. But
Mhm.
what happened, in my opinion, is the Falcons with Arthur Blank. The reason why I think that Rich McKay doesn't want a big time coach is because he's on that same level as Jerry Jones, where he wants to have all the power almost. So he's going to hire these young guys that
I see.
aren't
He
really
wants to be
good
the guy.
guys.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, we interviewed Vrabel. We didn't take Vrabel. Like, look what he's doing in New England. You know what I'm saying? We interviewed Belichick. We interviewed Harbaugh. We interviewed Ben Johnson. We interviewed the head coach
Mhm.
for the Seattle Seahawks. Look what these guys are doing on the programs that they're at. Right? The Atlanta Falcons, when they hire their coaches, check this shit out. They actually have a group, the Mercedes Benz group, and he said this because he was actually on the radio station down there, 680 radio station down in Atlanta, and he said that there's about 8 guys that go along with the hiring process. I'm thinking like, who the fuck are these 8 guys? Like, who's picking who the next head coach is going
They
to
don't they
be?
don't they don't name who they are. They just say they have
He just
these.
said he says there's about 8 guys. There's about 8 people who are all incorporated in it. I'm pretty sure Arthur Blank is one of them, and then there's Rich McKay,
Right.
and then who the other 6 guys? Who are these people that help? Because that whole thing
Hmm.
with Bill Belichick just it really like hit me sideways, man. Like I really thought we were going to be announcing Bill Belichick as our new head coach. Now, the thing else that obsessed me is that we had Thomas Dimitroff as our GM. He came
Right.
along. He came from the Patriots. Now he came from the Patriots, and he did a great job with developing our players, getting good players into Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons were a good team from
Mhm.
2008 to about 2016. They were a competitive team. When Atlanta got rid of him and brought in um, Fontenot. Fontenot was under Ricky Loomis out there in the Saints. So you
Yep.
bring a guy in from our rivals, you bring him in, and he
Eh,
was just an intern. He was an intern though, Dion. He wasn't a main guy. He was an intern for them. He's a new guy. He fixed our he got us out of cap hell. He did do some stuff, but
good numbers
that whole
cruncher.
situation, with not Roddy, with Julio Jones and Matt
Mhm.
Ryan fall under him. They fucked that up with Arthur
Mm.
Smith coming in. They fucked all that shit up, right? So you get rid of the 2 guys who were the face of our franchise, going into their golden years, gonna retire Falcons, only one team, fuck that up, right? You then once you fired Arthur Smith, they brought in Raheem Morris. Okay. Now, you know how it works. A GM is tied to his coach, and a coach is tied to his quarterback. So therefore,
Right.
but if you're gonna draft a quarterback, you usually want your new coach to draft that quarterback because that's who they love. You don't want to do what the Bears did, draft the guy, then fire the coach the next year. And now this guy
Makes no
has to
sense.
absolutely you got makes no sense, right? With that being said, you have a first time offensive coordinator
Mhm.
and Zach Robinson coaching up a young rookie quarterback. It doesn't work that way. You got to bring somebody in that can settle this guy down and do some good things. And I just really don't believe it. I think that the Falcons,
I'd say this, not to cut you off. I would say because what you're telling to me and explain your front office moves the last so and so years. It sounds like one, that committee, we're at me being a Virginia Tech
Mhm.
fan, are doing the same thing as far as picking our next coach. Bruce is part of Eddie Royal's part of it. Bruce Arians, a bunch of other, alumni are part of that, picking the next coach. Please be James Franklin. Praying, please. I would say for you guys, I feel like they're being a tad cheap on that side. And they're
Mhm.
looking at not the dollar signs, the more of how much money they can save moving forward. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm with
That's a
you.
good point.
You can't pick a coach who's, Peach mentioned it in our previous pod that look at all the coaches around. They're all offensive minded. Only good defense coach right now is Seattle's coach, McDonald,
Mhm.
and right now, if you pick your head coach, Raheem Morris, give him a second chance, which is fine. I'm not, of course you want somebody to get a second chance. However, a first time OC, no, not with a rookie. You can't do that. You have to have somebody seasoned that knows the game. And I think that's what
Yes.
you guys are. And I think they probably went the cheap route saying, hey, I can bring this guy on. You're not going to pay him as much as somebody that's been out there.
But Dion, check out what happened in the last 2 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as Raheem Morris is concerned, when they fired Arthur Smith, Raheem Morris became the interim head coach. Why didn't you keep him? You let him go, and 3 years later, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry.
Right.
When you fired Dan Quinn, you made Raheem Morris the interim, and then he got an interview. You didn't hire him. You hired Arthur Smith. You fire Arthur Smith 3 years later. You bring Raheem Morris back in. You should have just kept him then. If that's the
True.
case. Now, what you said was you made a great point. They have Zach Robinson, a rookie offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they had Jimmy Lake, a rookie defensive
Who?
coordinator. Exactly. Jimmy Lake got fired after the season. He got fired after the season. You bring in Ulbrich, the defense is so much better because you have a
Yeah.
seasoned veteran defensive coordinator. Got to get rid
Mm-hmm.
of if they're going to keep Raheem Morris, you got to get rid of Zach Robinson right now. You got to get
We
rid
did the
of him.
same thing. We
You
had
got to
Swanson last year for our DC, and every Niner fan will tell you we played I think it was the Lions on Sunday Night Football, and Amara had a walk-in touchdown, his goal line. We're playing soft coverage. Why are you soft coverage, in the red zone? What do you like? He said, yeah, he said I take two steps, catch the ball, and just walk in because we're 5 yards back. Yeah, so I understand those first year defensive head unless they were like under somebody like a disciple under somebody that knows what the
yeah.
hell they're doing. You can't trust these guys.
Can't
I'm
trust these people.
sorry,
You can't trust them.
can't do it.
So I mean, so that's what happened. So as far as the front office is concerned, I'm okay with the Atlanta Falcons just turning over everything. I wouldn't
Hmm.
mind them getting rid of Raheem Morris because I don't think he is that really like that aggressive coach that gets up. You don't see him get upset. You know what I'm saying? I want to see
Right,
the coach in somebody's face like, yo, what are you guys doing out here?
that
Obviously, Zach
fiery
Robinson
coach.
has to get out of here. Yeah. Ulbrich has to go. And I'll be honest with you, Terry Fontenot,
Hmm.
he really set us back with the whole Kirk Cousins deal. And even if they didn't draft Michael Penix,
Hmm.
I don't understand why you're paying him that much money that you paid him. He was not worth that much money that they paid him. To me, that was the biggest because right now where we don't have linebackers and we don't have any wide receivers. The only wide receiver we have on the team is Drake London. Now,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We lost McLeod. I mean, it's right now it's just a shit show, man. I'm just not.
Mooney
They
couldn't
gotta
catch
get
a
rid of it.
cold. Mooney couldn't catch a
Mooney
cold
dropping
over
everything.
in Germany. I was like, God damn, dude,
He couldn't catch anything. 8 passes thrown
I
at him. He caught
agree.
one ball. 8 passes. He
Like,
caught one ball.
I know we all have bad games, and they're playing over there in a soccer stadium. It's a lot of people, and you're overseas. The spotlight's on you. Well, that's the times you got to shit to get off the pot. You got to show who you are. But I'll say this in closing before we go. I'm gonna ask you this. I know you covered some of these when you talked about it as the front office failed you, but what changes would you make? I know you just mentioned some, but let's say we'll start with offensive changes, defensive, and then front office changes. We'll go from there. So what would you change on offense? Who would you get rid of? Who would you ideally, or what position would you like to adjust or upgrade? I'm sorry.
But we need to upgrade at wide receiver. We need to bring in
Hmm.
a vet.
Okay.
Mooney is a guy, but he's not a number two. He's
Hmm.
just not a number two. We really do. I was hoping that we would have traded for Waddle and got him over. I think that would have been a great addition for us. I don't know exactly where our cap space is for 2026. I think we're at about $22 million. So I don't know how that plays out in the middle of the
It's gonna go
season.
up this year too. So.
Yeah, and it'll go up. It'll go up. I do want to upgrade wide receiver. I think our
Hmm.
offensive line is still, a good offensive line. I think they can do a lot of things that they have done. So let's keep the offensive line together. I don't mind keeping Pitts. I really don't
Hmm.
mind keeping Pitts. But I do want a coordinator, obviously, that will know how to utilize him. And Kyle Pitts isn't the Brock Bowers hand in the ground blocking guy. You
Yeah.
got to
No.
utilize him as a wide receiver almost.
Mm.
And if you want to bring in a style of tight end like that, that'd be a great thing to do. Let's bring in a a blocking tight end that can catch. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you
Some young
guys
guy
did
that
get
can
Charlie
run, but
Warner from us. You guys did get him this year. He's good. He's good. He's a very good blocker.
yeah, he
Catching,
is.
yeah, but he's a damn
He
good
is.
blocker. So
But you
I
you
just don't know if
have
you
you
guys are
have
using
him
him.
in. Yeah, I mean you do. You have him in, and they're double
Hmm.
tight end set to the same side. Both him and Pitts are in 3-point stance out of
Okay.
pistol. So it's not like you're doing anything where we can use Pitts as a receiver to create the
Hmm.
mismatch, and then have Warner leak out on some sort of like a tight end, what I'm saying, leak or some shit like. It's none of that.
Right.
But it's all Zach Robinson. They got to get rid of Zach Robinson, and I think this is the second week in a row that the radio station, they've actually questioned Raheem Morris when they've had their interviews afterwards, and they've said something about him. So I mean, it's to the point where when the media starts talking about it, it starts to get heard more and more and more and more, to the point that I think he's not going to be with the Falcons next year.
Mm.
Defensively, I do believe that we need to upgrade the interior of our defense. You know, what I'm saying, to help push that pocket.
Mhm.
We lost a fan favorite in what's the name of Chicago, but we lose a damn man, I don't know why I can't, his name's not on
If
top
it
of my
pops
head.
up, just let me know and I'll
Yeah,
put
yeah,
in
yeah. Well,
there
we'll
and
get
I
it in
would
there.
add it.
Linebacker, I do want to upgrade the linebacker, the middle linebacker, or just that core a little bit better. Just have some bigger, stout guys. But as far as our
Mhm.
defensive backs, I like what we're doing. I love Jesse Bates. I love our defensive end. So I'm great, and I do hope we keep Ulbrich on the team as our defensive coordinator. I wouldn't
Yeah, I
even
think
mind upgrading him as the head coach if possible. It wouldn't bother me.
and I think we mentioned this prior in the video we did beforehand. I'll pin that to this video. People didn't get out to check it out, but in preseason, that the Falcons really have never really had a pass rusher that the league has really
Hmm.
feared too much, and you guys did the right thing getting those two guys in the first round, Pierce and Walker this year. So hopefully they can, it looks like so far they're on a good start. But to help them out, you're gonna have to get
Yeah.
somebody in the middle. Somebody got to get someone stout in the middle. That should be someone you draft next year, possibly.
Grady Jarrett was the guy I was talking about.
Gray Jarrett. Okay, yeah,
Grady
yeah,
Jarrett
Gray
was our
Jarrett,
guy.
and
He's a fan favorite.
I forgot who's the one who retired and was like, I'll just be a manager at Walmart doing Hard Knocks. Was it like it was like Pereira? What was it? Starts with a P.
He was terrible.
He
I know you're
retired like
talking
out of
about though. Yeah,
nowhere. Yeah,
Pierre. Yeah, from Ole Miss. I think he was from
yeah.
Ole. He's
Yeah, he's just
garbage.
like it was on Hard Knocks. Like, oh, I'll go home, I'll just be a Walmart manager. Hey, that if that's what you want to do, the NFL grind's not for you. I'm not going to judge you, but I'm judging.
Oh
But
no, no,
yeah,
no. I know you're talking about. Is it Prayer Jerry, or are you
I
talking about old boy from Clemson?
not it wasn't Vic Beasley. It wasn't Vic Beasley.
Okay, not Big Beasley. Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't Vic. It was a
but
defensive
you
tackle.
you made a comment about the last time the Atlanta Falcons had a defensive end that they feared. That was John Abraham, and they feared him, and that was when we made it to the Super Bowl with John Abraham. So I mean, unfortunately, he left after that season, 2016, 2017. But
Wasn't he a Jet
after
before y'all
that,
though?
nobody. He was a Jet. Yep, and we got him. We
Okay,
traded our first round pick for
yeah.
him, and he came to us. He did
Yeah, I
really.
mean,
He was
Johnny
awesome
Green
for
was good.
us.
I'm not taking down from him. I'm talking like more. I personally as more of a uh,
Mm.
homegrown tackler, a feared defensive end. How about that? Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no,
because Vic
no.
Beasley, I thought he was gonna be the B side of Clemson. He wasn't really, John Abram. What he was a dog. Just like when y'all got Gonzalez, he was a dog too. For
Yeah,
y'all. So I was thinking like more somebody y'all draft that turned out to be like everyone he's in the top 10 as far as defensive ends like a pass rusher and whatnot. But like I said, hey,
nope.
we're halfway through the season, and as we mentioned earlier, Falcons, now Falcons. I appreciate you coming on. And closing, anything you want to see from your team in the second half of the season before we get up out of here.
We have winnable matchups, and
Hmm.
we have losable matchups. The one thing I will say about this before I go is that out of all the games we have remaining on our schedule, the hardest hardest three teams that we're going to play are the Seahawks, the
Hmm.
Buccaneers, and the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, and
Does that Rams?
damn, the Rams. Thank you, and the
Okay, yeah,
Rams.
because y'all got our division. Yeah.
Yeah, we still got the Saints twice. We got the Cardinals. We got the Panthers again. The crazy thing about it is, though, Dion, is that the Falcons are that team that could beat those three good teams, but they're
Y'all
also
could.
the team that could lose to those bad teams. It just don't
Hmm.
know what team is going to show up. We could win out. We could maybe lose one game and win the rest of the other ones, or we could go 50-50 in this one. We don't know who's going to show up, and that sucks. And I can tell you this, Dion, is
Hmm.
that's coaching. That's coaching.
Yeah, 100%.
You're going against the last 2 weeks. They played the top teams in the divisions, and they played them strong and hard. Pause. Pause. But the teams the teams that they're supposed to beat, they play them bad, and that's
I heard
coaching.
Bajo.
You
I
got
heard
two
Bajo.
teams. Yeah, you heard of it? The Panthers. He just woke up too. The Panthers losing without scoring, and then the Dolphins getting blown out. It's just that's the sign of a bad coaching staff. You can't go out
Mm,
there and lose by 30, 35 points to two teams that are the bottom dwellers, and then
yeah,
lose basically off of a missed field goal and a touchdown in overtime to the best teams in the NFL. So it just I don't know who's going to show up, man. I hope we can win out because I don't want the Rams to have a top 10 pick.
neither do I.
If we win out, we make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Potentially even win the division if we win out. But
Hmm.
I'm not going to bet on it anymore. Yeah,
It's
I
all
learned
good,
my
brother.
lesson
It's all
there.
good. Hey,
Nope.
we're halfway through this misery. I got to film this. I got to film one for the Niners here pretty soon. Probably do it today. But we're halfway through it. We all had our expectations going into the season. Now we look where we are now, and we'll do a follow up at the end of the season, kind of see if our projections, if it happened, or if they kind of succumb to.
Right.
As you mentioned before, the Falcons. It's your man Clubber D. That's Lamar, Dirty Mojo Lane, and we'll check you on the rebound. We out.